It is time once again for another awesome edition of Younger Life Live. Here, of course, in the confines of the flagship radio station, AM 1420 WIMS. I'm Rick Federici. Mary Anthony, so you know, Stacy Kellogg, Cindy Burcham, and Dr. Barbara Eason-Watkins right now trying to stay and live healthy with her husband, Jeremy, and she's getting a heart cart done as we speak at LaPorte Hospital in LaPorte, Indiana. Kind of cool, right?
Very
Absolutely.
cool.
I'm all about this. Let's go around the room. We'll start with Cindy Burcham. Cindy, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Rick?
Absolutely fantastic. Great day to be alive. The sun is shining. And I've got not one, not two, but three wonderful ladies. And then when Mary comes in, I will be surrounded by intelligence and greatness.
That's the story of your life.
Thank you all. It's like, I got to tell you, if it wasn't for the ladies in my life, my wife and my daughters and wonderful people like yourselves, I would not be organized and I would not be able to do that. Dr. Barbara Eason-Watkins, welcome back to Studio 1420 and to Younger Life Live. How are you?
I'm fine and looking forward to the dialogue today.
Absolutely great. And Stacy Kellogg, back and better than ever with a big smile. Are you hiking this weekend? Are we doing something crazy or what?
I am definitely going to get outside this weekend. Like I said, I don't know what the weather is going to be like. I haven't even looked, but I need some fresh air. So I think I'm going to head out to Cowles Bog Trail this weekend for the Indiana Dunes National Lakeshore, or maybe Trail 9 at the Indiana Dunes State Park. I don't know which one yet, but they're both on my list.
Look at this. She's cranking it. We're talking about, healthy things to do, great things. And today the topic of discussion, which I absolutely love, revolves around a pool and some neat things going on. And there's just so many things to do. Stacy, I'm going to throw to you because we were all chatting about some of the neat things going on between Cindy and Dr. Watkins. And I hear there's a cool story going on here. Let's start with you today.
We have some amazing things happening. We wanted to try to start a dialogue in our community about safe swimming. And one of the ways that we were able to do that was to partner with the Michigan or the LaPorte County YMCA Michigan City Elston branch and the schools and the Boys and Girls Club to really kind of think about what does it mean in our community to be a lakefront community. We have obviously, Lake Michigan is one of the largest water forces in our area, but we've got lots of inland lakes, lots of people with pools. And we started looking at some statistics that showed that in Indiana, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, in Indiana, the number one leading cause of unintentional death between ages 1 and 14 is unintentional drowning. So we have too many people in our community who maybe don't know how to swim or don't know how to swim safely. And so we were trying to think about how do we break down barriers, and we brought a group of team together, a committee together to really start looking at that. As a result, LaPorte Hospital made in 2015 a $100,000 donation to the YMCA.
Beautiful.
Yeah. This was solely to help upkeep the pool in Michigan City, to make improvements, capital improvements to the pool and the locker room area, to fund scholarships for individuals who are not able to afford swim lessons, and maybe even some supplies for folks who might have some barriers and need swim supplies. So Cindy was amazing in helping us develop that agreement. And with that agreement came naming rights to the pool. And we thought, well, we don't need it to be the LaPorte Hospital pool. What we really want is Michigan City to reclaim their community pool, and we'd like them to name it. So that's kind of how we ended up here today, to talk a little bit about our Safe Swimming Hometown Swim Hero campaign and the 1,000 Drops of Water campaign as well that will launch in April. So that's why we're here today. Dr. Eason-Watkins has a really inspiring story as one of our first hometown swim heroes to talk about a little bit about how she ended up considering safe swimming in her own personal life as well.
Absolutely. Many of you may know that I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and when I was probably around 7 or 8, my next door neighbor drowned. And it really impacted me. I was then afraid to go near any water. And in Michigan, there was a requirement at the time that you had to pass swimming. It wasn't a graded activity, but you had to pass swimming in order to graduate from high school. So first of all, it took me 2 semesters. I finally learned how to float. A counselor finally suggested to the principal, we've got our vice president of the class with a 3.9 average, who won't graduate unless we're able to let her through. And so they let me through, and literally they had to hold me while I was floating because I was so intimidated by the water. And that went on for years and years. My son learned how to swim. My granddaughter is an avid swimmer, but I didn't know how to swim. So when I was turning 59, 5 years ago, I decided rather than plan a party, rather than go out to dinner and go out and buy something special, I was going to tackle something that was very, very important. And that to me was learning how to swim. And by that time, I had become the superintendent here in Michigan City, loved the lakefront. And we have a pool in our backyard that I wasn't using.
Oh, yeah.
So
What a
I was
wasted
just
resource.
like, I am such a swimmer. I love swimming. Did not even know this about you.
And so I had met Bobby Petru in her role as at the Red Cross. And I talked to her about my fears. And so she said, oh, I'm a person who teaches swimming. I can help you. I'm used to working with people who have fears like you. I don't think she knew what she was going to encounter when she tried to first teach me how to swim. Day one, she asked me to put my head in the water, and I looked at her like she was absolutely crazy.
Really?
And so we really had to work through a lot of things, but I can say that today I can swim across my pool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
And I feel so comfortable doing it. And one of the reasons I would say that I'm here today is first of all to share that it doesn't matter how old you are. I'm 59, and I was 59 at the time. I will be 64 this year. But it was important for me to accomplish that. And secondly, as we think about the importance of our young people learning how to swim, my neighbor drowned, and he was a very close friend, and that impacted me for the rest of my life. But the lesson is we have to ensure that our students know safe swimming policies and rules so that they can enjoy this wonderful, wonderful community.
Dr. Watkins,
So inspiring.
Exactly. And
Love it.
I hear it, I see it, you feel it. And that's what the show Younger Life Live is all about. When you say it stuck with you, so this is something that you had, it was like basically a major hurdle. So as you were working with Bobby and you started carving away at the small layers, did that make you feel good? Was it like an incentive to get to the next small baby step?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Once she realized that she really had a challenge in front of her, we set some benchmarks. And so, we worked probably 8 weeks to get me to a point where I could swim across the pool. And I'm talking about the low end at that particular time.
Sure.
So, that was important. And once I realized that it was, I could put my face in the water and get back up and it was okay. And, we could then utilize some of the tools that you use in teaching swimming. And, she would gradually release responsibility to me. Sometimes I was a little uncertain. And so she would stand close. I didn't want her too far away. But at that point, once I began to gain confidence, I was ready to roll.
Have you been able to enjoy your own pool in your backyard since
Absolutely.
then? Yeah.
And, my husband is, he is so thrilled. He didn't want to teach me because he just knew, okay, this is going to be a challenge.
He's too
beyond
Can I
too
say this
close
from a
to
guy's
Sarah.
perspective? Yeah, from a guy's perspective, you don't want to be on your favorite person in the world's bad list, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right,
Seriously.
right.
And that is tough sometimes
Right.
because you don't understand. From a guy perspective, I would know that, but I am so happy. That has got to change the whole dynamics there, because now as a couple and, as a grandmom, as a mom, you could have your family and friends and over, and it's kind of cool. It's a whole new side of you.
Absolutely. And I can also add that I developed sciatica over the past few years. And so this opportunity, the swimming, has really helped strengthen, my back and my ability to combat that. because there was a time, and many of you may have seen me struggling to walk upstairs and, just to walk around in general. But just in terms of maintaining my overall health, it's just really been something that's been a positive benefit to me. And again, I would encourage, all parents to make sure that you get your kids out and let them learn how to swim early. But just because you cross that 50, barrier, you said, "Oh, I'm too old." You're never too old.
Yes.
Never.
Too old. And we have resources here locally. I mean, we have Bobby's a wonderful swim instructor. I was really excited, Cindy, to learn that the person who taught me, I'm 43 years old, the person who taught me to swim in Michigan City at the Michigan City Y when I was a very, very young child is now back teaching swimming again at your Y, Jackie Babcock.
Yes.
I
And
will
we have
never
Bobby at
forget.
the Y now too. She's now working for the Y as well. So she's helping teach
Wonderful.
swim lessons at the Y also.
That makes me happy to know that we have resources for folks when you can't turn to your husband or your friends maybe want to help you learn how to swim, but they don't have that professional instructor training to do it. We do have resources in our YMCA, and now we've got our pool back open for the community, and it's really exciting.
It's
wonderful.
absolutely gorgeous. And it was great because Cindy and her crew gave a bunch of us a wonderful tour. And I am just blown away, not only by the way the building looks, but that is my favorite part. I just went swimming about a week or so ago, actually last weekend, at my in-laws' retirement village. We were the only people in the pool, and I looked at my wife and my daughters. I'm like, this is heaven on earth. I just love swimming.
Right.
We had a pool in our backyard for about 16 years, and with us, moving, it's one of the things we had to take it down kind of deal because a lot of people don't want that in their backyards. But then we turned to you, and I'm like,
Right.
I cannot wait to jump in your pool. Talk a little bit about what you guys have done and the pool that you guys have got brewing. It is beautiful. Absolutely.
Well, and I will say we have really started offering programming since the late springtime, and we started off with the pool offerings. Now we've expanded. We've got our wellness center, we've got aerobics and wellness classes, but the pool is what really got the Y going in Michigan City and what really drew people into the building. And it is amazing to see all of the different activities. A big part of what we do is teaching swim lessons. We start with mommy and me classes, which doesn't have to be mommy and baby, but adult and a child, starting from 6 weeks up, all the way to seniors that are there for aqua Zumba. They're doing water walking, arthritis classes. We've got lap swimmers that come in before they go to work. We've got lap swimmers who are there on their lunch hour, lap swimmers who are there after work. So it's a real nice variety. We've got open swim. I was there yesterday during swim lessons, and just watching the children gain that confidence. And another point, you were talking about your husband not wanting to teach you to swim. I think sometimes it's also difficult for a parent because a lot of times when children are young, they are afraid putting their face in the water is a big obstacle to overcome. And our swim instructors, Jackie and Miss Pat, who's another just phenomenal swimmer, and she's got her own swim story too. She's another person that did not learn to swim until she was in her 40s. Same thing, she was very afraid of the water and then decided to overcome the obstacle. And the person that taught her to swim actually teaches water classes for us as well. But our staff is so great, and they make that connection with the kids that they're able to get them to do things to overcome some fear levels that sometimes parents have a little bit of a hard time if their child's scared of the water. They sometimes have that fear that if they try to get them in the water, they're going to make them more afraid. So having someone that is trained to teach swim lessons really helps the kids. And it's amazing how you can go from a child that doesn't even want to put their toe in the water, and you pop back down a few weeks later and visit, and these kids are swimming with kickboards, and they do their soldier chicken bat to learn how to do their back stroke, and it's just amazing. And I think swimming is a lifelong skill. A lot of times as we get older and we've been running, we have problems with our knees and our hips, but the water is something that is a lot easier on your body. You can walk in the water, you can run in the water, you can do aerobics classes in the water. So it's really, truly something that can be with you for a lifetime.
I agree. The healing properties of water, I think, are very. You mentioned your sciatica, and I know that there are a couple of rehab facilities here in our community that in LaPorte and Michigan City that have what's called the HydroWorks pool, that actually provides clinical water therapy for people who are going through certain issues with physical therapy and need that buoyancy of water, and they need the exactly the properties that you're talking about.
Right.
When you talk about the healing properties of water, I wanted to bring up a story, if I can, really quick.
Absolutely,
Rick.
please.
I was at a concert once. I'm a big music fan, so I was at a concert once, and the musician who was playing relayed this story about how when he was young, he had tubes in his ears, and he, to help with drainage. And the doctor, when he put the tubes in his ears, really kind of scared he and his mom by telling him, you'll never be able to swim again. Don't ever put your head underwater. Be careful in the shower. And as a result, as a young boy, this guy was just petrified of the water. He thought if he went into the water, he was going to be deaf. In reality, that wasn't the situation, but he grew up just avoiding puddles. I mean, it was that fear that was built up in him. And when he finally decided to overcome that fear, he told the story about how the first time he went underwater. And as a musician, this is somebody who, where sound is very important to him. And the first time he put his head underwater, and the peace that came over him, and too, from the first time probably from going underwater, right. Dr. Easton Watkins, the peaceful feeling you get when you go underwater and just let your body be for a minute, it's extremely powerful. And I found that it's a great stress reliever for me. I used to be a competitive swimmer. I swam on the Solera Piranhas when I was a kid, and those swim meets are loud and there's a lot going on. And I would always remember at the end of the day when the place was clearing out, I would take that minute to go into the pool and just go underwater for a minute and find peace. And it's extremely powerful, I think, and very healing.
Absolutely.
When you swim, because I feel the same exact way when I'm underwater and I'm doing my own groove, it's kind of like you could have the craziest day and there could be a lot of things going on. But when you do put your head underwater, you tune it all out.
You do.
You're like in your own world. And especially for those of us, I open my eyes underwater a lot. Mm-hmm. I love that. I like to see what's going on. Or if you're on vacation with the family and you're swimming, I just absolutely love to snorkel or look at the beauty under the water.
It's a whole other world under there.
So
even when you're in a
beautiful,
pool at the Y,
yeah.
It's like a different world.
Love it.
To look underwater.
Yeah. We got multiple text messages, one after another, folks asking if at the Y, and if you could talk about your branches, if you wouldn't mind for a moment,
Sure.
But people want to know, do you offer lessons for, one had said for babies, and the other one said for those that are in their wiser years. They said over 65. I mean, that's young to me.
Absolutely. We have a variety of classes. First of all, we've got 3 branches. We've got a branch in Long Beach, one in Michigan City Elston branch, and our LaPorte branch. The Michigan City Elston branch and the LaPorte branch both have pools, and we offer lessons in all of those, both of those locations. We start with what we call a mommy or a parent and child class. That's an infant 6 weeks old, and that usually goes until about 3 years old. Once you get to the preschool age, which we would define as 2.5, 3 years old, then we start one-on-one. It would be a group, 6 or 7 children in a class, but a swim lesson with an instructor. And then they're called progressive swim lessons. So we start with a child who doesn't know how to swim at all as a preschooler. And then we also have school age classes, which would start with a kindergartner. Same thing. They can have no swim skills at all, and we progress them hopefully through the different levels of swimming, all the way through what we call a flying fish, which would be someone that could then participate on a swim team if they wanted to. We have an adult class that is actually taught by the person that taught Miss Pat to swim. And then we also have private swim lessons. Sometimes it's a little bit intimidating if you're older and you don't know how to swim. You don't want to be in the pool with a lot of other people that maybe have some swim capabilities. So we can do one-on-one lessons as well. And those are available at both branches, LaPorte and Michigan City Elston.
We have a direct link to all that information in terms of phone numbers for the branches right on the website, WIMSradio.com. Yes. And of course, as we continue to post pictures, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado,
I tried to sneak in. I apologize for being late. We did the hard cart this morning, my husband and I, and it was fantastic. February was Heart Health Month. We had a lot of guests on about that, and really inspiring and scary stories. So my husband and I had signed up, and this morning is when they could get us in. So we did it. It was good. The little finger poke wasn't even so bad. You know what I mean? It's funny. My son kept saying, "Are you going to have to get a shot?" Because he was with. And I said, "We're not getting a shot. But they're going to poke our finger." And, I would almost rather have a blood draw out of the arm than a finger. Occasionally, I feel like that's just, my fingers they crack real bad in the winter, so it can be painful. But she did great. It didn't even hurt. It was perfect. And we went through and got everything done, and we'll get our results, in a couple weeks. And, but,
Here's to heart health. Good for you guys.
That's right. It
Thank you
felt
for
good.
taking care of your body. I appreciate it.
It was nice. I definitely recommend do it. It's super non-invasive. You get nervous thinking you don't really know what to expect. Even everybody telling you what to expect, you still don't really know. But it was very easy and peace of mind, it's priceless. So, but I listened all the way in. I knew I was going to be late. I had sent you the text. I'm coming.
I didn't get
but we're
any.
just
You're way late. You're in trouble.
Oh goodness, yeah.
You're the boss of the show. Come on.
Please. But I was listening all the way in, and Cindy, that's such an inspiring story about. Really, all the stories you were saying about, learning later in life to swim and how scary. I recall when I was in about fourth grade, a classmate over the summer. He was not a neighbor, but a classmate drowned, and I remember it was. We were fourth going into fifth grade, I think, and it was shocking, and just. We attended a very small school, so everybody. And it was shocking. His family just had been on vacation and swimming in a river, which I would be terrified to do anyways, just because I think of, current and snakes.
I think of
all kinds of scary stuff. But apparently just had an accident. And I remember just as a child, that's something, you don't think about death in those terms when you're young and think that it can really happen to somebody that you know. So that was very scary. I, at the time, already knew how to swim, but I could see I was afraid of even the lake water at that point then, thinking you just never know. You never know. And, in my child's mind, I remember thinking, who knows? What if he got caught on something? I kept thinking that. So I didn't want to get in anything that wasn't a pool.
But you know what? That's really important, I think, when you're talking about safe swimming. There's so much more to it than just knowing how to swim.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
absolutely.
I remember as a child, learning how to swim. And my mom had us in the pool when we were babies. And so we were very fortunate that we were comfortable with the water. But in a lakefront community, you have to respect Lake Michigan.
Absolutely.
100%
Well, and that's
agree.
another thing I wanted to bring up too.
Please.
As part of our swim lessons, our last week, we do 7-week sessions during the school year. Our summer sessions are 5 weeks each, but our last week of all swim lesson sessions are dedicated to boater safety. We actually have a big inflatable raft that we put in the pool, and we teach the kids how to, that they should always have a life jacket on if they're in a pool, and also teach them if they are in a body of water. Unlike a pool where we try to teach them to get to the side of the pool if they're having issues, how they can float, how they can tread water, how they can keep themselves above the water until someone would get there that could help rescue them. So you're very right, Stacy. That's another important part. There are a lot of strong swimmers that have drowned.
Absolutely.
It's not because they didn't have the skill to swim, but they got into a situation a lot of times in a lake or a natural body of water where they can have a problem. So that's important too, to teach the kids how to float and how to reserve their energy so they're not flailing their arms and they use up all of their energy until someone can get there and help them. But to try and teach them to stay calm, float, and how to survive until someone can get there to help them. So that's an important part. How not to tip a boat. If you're in a boat, don't stand in a rowboat because you're going to probably flip it over. We teach them all kinds of things like that.
I know the Michigan City Parks Department too has a wonderful information usually that comes out every summer, both on their social media site and on their website, and through the media channels about rip currents and how when you're at public beaches, you really need to just adhere to whatever notifications are out there. If there are rip currents happening, even safe swimmers can get caught up in those. And I've actually been in one before. It's happened to me at the Indiana Dunes State Park. And I will tell you that the advice that they give you about rip currents, when you get out into there and the water starts to pull you farther, if you fight it and you try to swim towards shore, you're going to get tired. You're going to end up in a situation where you're going under, where you may take on water. And so rather than fight it, they encourage you to swim parallel to the shore until you're out of the rip current. And so I did that and it worked. But, I probably, at that time that I was in the water, there was not a rip current warning. So even though you're looking at the warnings and you're heeding them, you really do, Cindy, need to know how to take care of yourself in a natural body of water. And when you know that, you're able to overcome those fears about, playing in a river or
Absolutely.
Having your feet snag on something at the bottom of the lake or something. And when you can overcome that, you learn to enjoy it.
Well, when you're prepared, you know, that's what I think. When you feel like you're prepared, that's why I think this is so important. It isn't just the, you know, the naming aspect, which is really, really cool, I think, but the, and fun. I mean, the water is a blast. We've always been big swimmers too. We love to swim, but it is very scary, and having to be, you know, being prepared and teaching your kids. I remember being a young child and my parents telling us that if we ever do get caught, you know, in the current, do the parallel swimming until you know, can get yourself out of it. And, you know, those things just run through your mind. And then as a mom now, I am very nervous to take my kids to the lake. I would much rather swim at a pool, which can still obviously be very dangerous, but it's easier to keep your eye on them. You know, it's easier to watch them and stuff like that. But the trying to teach them those important things and to be prepared in case of, you know, in case you do get, you know, you see a stick or something, you know, I mean, a big log in there, don't touch it, don't go by it. You know what I mean? Just being prepared for those things just in case. So swimming can continue to be fun and enjoyable, you know, all summer. So
I think too, to add to that, a lot of us, I was brought up in an environment where we all went to swimming lessons as little. I mean, I was little. I went to Catholic school, and I remember literally my mom and dad, and, you know, I go back, I'm 49. So, I mean, I grew up in an era where in the early 70s, you would ride your bike to the pool, you would be by yourself, but with your friends, you know, you'd be there all day, open to close. But we all took swimming lessons. A lot of us were on the swim team. I did that. But I remember as a little boy being able to go up in the high dive, you know, and some of that stuff. But I also remember as a goofball adult going to Cozumel with a bunch of young couples, and we were having fun, and we went into an area, I can remember it like it was yesterday, San Francisco Beach, and it said, do not swim, rip currents. And I could tell you, when you said that, I could think of it to this day, and you're talking something that happened over 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And we went in the water, a bunch of the guys who thought it was cool, and I got caught in a current. And I was so afraid. It pulled me in so quickly, and my entire body, it went across my face, and my whole body was just, you know, like I had all kinds of scratches. I came out and I was crying as an adult man because I literally thought when I was in there at that time that I was dead.
Yeah.
Like, and I thought to myself, that's the reason. And you brought up a great point, Stacy, and I know Dr. Watkins has chatted about this as well. When there are the signs out there, the colors, when they're saying don't go in there and swim, don't go in there. If you're with someone, and if you're with, you know, your family and whatever, we have 30, 40, 50 people in here when the Great Lakes Grand Prix comes in. There were a couple times where they would have the big events and they'd be like, don't you go swimming. And we'd all be down there having a family picnic. Don't go near the water, you know, kind of attitude. Do you, Dr. Watkins, with your grandchildren and your children, you said they all swim. Did they do lessons and stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely. And let me just share with you why I feel it's so important. In my family, when I talk about the extended family, there were people who would say when I was small, oh, you should just take her and just throw her into the pool and she'll learn how to, you know, paddle and
Baptism
swim.
by fire.
And that's something that was common because that, you know, swimming was such, you know, a normal thing for most children. And so it's really important to take the children to lessons, make sure that they understand, you know, why their body should respond in certain ways under certain conditions, because it can be a safety issue just as much as we enjoy swimming. You know, it could be hazardous if you don't know the rules and don't know the procedures that you should follow. And I would think in many communities, you know, many in Michigan City, you know, the norm is, you know, they've grown up with the lakefront there. They just run out into the water and just start paddling, and, you know, and they think that's swimming. You know, I remember when I first took my granddaughter swimming, she said, Granny, I know how to swim. And I said, oh, no, you don't.
Don't you go there.
But, you know, I think there are other children who think because they can get into the water, they can maneuver from one point to the other, that they know how to swim. But there's so much more, Stacy said, to swimming that they need to know. And so I would just encourage all parents to ensure that they take their children for lessons early on.
So I do have a question about that. I don't know if any of you know parents. When we were meeting as a committee and looking at some of the barriers around safe swimming, some of the barriers themselves were the parents. The parents were afraid of water, or you know. And I remember as a kid, my grandma, born in Italy, Antonia Antonietta Maria Flora Pizza was my grandma's name.
Wow.
Wonderful woman. But I remember her when we were all as a family at the beach, just pacing the shoreline while we were all swimming. You know, all my sisters and I were swimming in the water, very comfortable at the lake. Like I said, competitive swimmers at the time. And my grandma was just beside herself with fear that we were out in that water. And so I think a lot of times people's, children's fears are come from their parents. Does anybody have any ideas on how parents can maybe try to overcome that and get their, is there a resource at the Y where they can just come and talk about what it means to put their children into swim classes or how can we help parents in that way?
I would really recommend that they speak with Pat Buell, who is our aquatics coordinator in LaPorte. She is the person that, and I don't want to, she's going to be one of our people that's going to be sharing her story, but
she's a hometown swim
hero. She's a hometown
yes,
swim hero. And she was the same thing. Her mom was very afraid of the water and always taught her kids, do not go near the water. She said the only time they ever went near a lake was once a year when they had a family reunion, and her mom would only allow them to go in the water like up to their ankles. So she was afraid, and then she became a mom and had children and did not want them to have this fear of the water. So she got her kids involved in swim lessons at the Y in Michigan City, and that is how she got talking to Jackie and met some other people, and she decided in her late 40s that, much like your story, that she was going to learn to swim. So she, I think, firsthand can understand that fear, and I think that's why people have such a comfort level with her. She just set a new record this week. We just started last week our winter 1 swim lesson session, and she's got 174 children enrolled just in the LaPorte pool, which is a new record for us.
Big round of applause.
So she is
Beautiful.
She, along with all of our staff, are absolutely amazing. But she has that connection mainly with the parents. They trust her, and if they have these fears, she understands and she can explain that to them. And if we have a child that maybe isn't comfortable in the larger group setting, she'll start off with a few private lessons with them, and then most of the time they will work right into the progressive swim lessons. And we've had a variety of children and adults that have come through our program, but I remember we had one little guy that she noticed had been coming to swim lessons. His sister and brother were in swim lessons, and he was always in the observatory. We have a glass observatory by our pool in LaPorte, and Pat didn't understand why he wasn't taking swim lessons. So she started talking to Mom. Well, he had a stroke while he was still in vitro. So he had some physical limitations, and she talked to Mom and said, I really would like to give him an opportunity to come in the pool and take a lesson with me. Well, he then, after a few times, moved into the swim lessons, and his mom said what a blessing that was for him. He felt like when he was in the water, he was a kid just like every other kid. He had no limitations because the water, the buoyancy and everything. So those are the types of inspiring
That's a great story.
That is a great
Beautiful.
story.
and
That's so
the
beautiful.
confidence that gave that little guy by being able to swim and be just like his brother and sister and everyone else it is pretty amazing. And those are the types of things that if someone comes to the Y and they have questions, I would absolutely recommend that they talk to Pat, because she's lived it. She grew up her first almost 50 years terrified of the water, and now if you saw her, you would never imagine that was a story. She's in the pool 6 days a week. So
Is that, Cindy, something that parents could do, is come and observe a lesson maybe?
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe they could just see how safely their classes are ran, and how much organization there actually is to a class. I have seen a class. It's fun. So,
and there's
Absolutely.
a lot of joy in those classes.
yes,
I have
that's
to
what
tell
I'm
you.
saying. Maybe that
I
would be a little
remember
contagious.
Graduating from one little group,
you get your
we were
ribbon,
like,
you
go
for
from
minnows or
guppy
something.
to minnow
guppy
and-
to minnow.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of joy
Yeah.
in this idea
Yeah.
of swimming as a community, and
Yeah.
we talk about fears and overcoming them, but if you can just go and see the joy on
Yes.
people's faces when they, a very young child's face when they put their face in the water and they blow bubbles for the first time, and they're so excited and happy, and so there's, I think if parents can see that,
Right.
they'll learn that there's just a lot of joy that can come from
Let's do the second part of the show from the pool. Yeah.
there we
Put on
go.
suits on.
think of that earlier.
That would be really
Dr.
cool.
Although I am not getting in a swimsuit on
We have
camera.
another
No.
Yeah, that's true.
Now that there's webcams involved, that changes the game a little bit.
but we are so fortunate that our Y offers so many options. I would not have gone into a group setting to learn how to swim.
I'm with you on that.
Well,
I don't do
And there are
groups very
many who feel the same way.
Why-
And the fact that I was able to have the one-on-one lesson, it enabled me to really be very candid with Bobby as to my concerns. And it also enabled her to help build my confidence in a non-intimidating and non-threatening
Absolutely.
environment.
I love that.
I
Great
think it's
input.
very different when there's true fear versus just like, oh, I don't really know how to swim. But I mean, you had a wonderful reason to legitimately be afraid of the water, and for so many years not tackling that. I would imagine a group setting could have been a disaster for you as far as the total opposite. It may just.
It's very intimidating.
Well, she
Well,
needed the
it's
one-on-one
intimidating.
time,
You need
right?
that.
She
You
had
need
the-
that
she needed
safety
one-on-one.
feeling,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I don't imagine that could happen in a group setting in that case.
Well, for
so.
years, I would sit on the sidelines. I would put
Right.
on a swimming suit, and I would, sit by the pool while others enjoyed the pool, or if we went down to the lakefront, I would do that, but I wouldn't get close to it.
Right. Wow.
All right. So another part of the cool groove here on Younger Life Live today is you had brought up at the beginning of the show naming rights, or
Yeah.
you could be a part of this. Talk to me about this. I know you and Cindy are going to delve into that a little bit, but if you wouldn't mind, let's expand on that a little
Sure.
bit.
So we are launching today, and that's, Dr. Eason Watkins is our first hometown swim hero with her story. We are launching today the opportunity for the entire Michigan City community to share with us their hometown swim hero stories. We want to hear from children, adults, anybody in Michigan City about why they think they are a hometown swim hero. And it doesn't have to be everybody's story is extremely inspiring and amazing, whether you're afraid of the water or not. Your hometown swim heroes are people who have learned how to swim, or maybe don't know how to swim and are ready to make the pledge to learn how to swim. So we're really looking for individuals to help us submit their hometown swim hero stories. And there's some guidelines around that. And then also, as part of that, we want them to suggest a name for the Michigan City pool at the YMCA.
I love this.
So
That's
the community is going to name this pool, and we have. Do you want to talk a little bit, Cindy, about how it'll actually roll out once we have the name ready to go? And
Absolutely. I met yesterday with Deanna Abner. She is an art teacher at Michigan City High School, and we were looking for something that could be a permanent part of the pool area. So as we were brainstorming, we came up with this idea of a mural, and Deanna and her students have been doing some fantastic murals within the high school. So Betsy Cohn from Michigan City Schools suggested that I reach out to Deanna. So we met yesterday, and she came over and visited the pool area. But we have the plans. Once we have the winning essay, that's one part of the contest, and the winning name, the students are going to read through the winning essay and the name for their inspiration. They're going to come up with a mural that they are actually going to design, and then they will be painting it on the wall.
Wow.
Inside the pool
inside the pool
area.
area.
Yeah.
There's a bleacher area if you've ever been in the
Sure.
pool area, because it was a competition pool. So the mural will be, there's like two big sections of wall in the center of the bleachers. They're going to do it in that section. So it's going to be a pretty good sized mural, but the inspiration for it will come from the winning essay and also from the name. So we are really excited. And we are going to be unveiling the mural. We always participate in the world's largest swim lesson. Each year they set a new Guinness Book of World Records. And we've done it at the LaPorte pool for the last several years. This year we'll be doing it in LaPorte and in Michigan City. And as part of that, we are going to have some activities going around that. But we will be unveiling the mural that day before we start the swim lesson. So
I'm going to throw this out there. Are you up for the challenge? Challenge Live on Younger Life Live. Are you ready
to
for this?
be there?
Here's what you're going to do. I'll be at the Michigan City pool. You could be at the LaPorte
Okay,
pool.
sure.
Live Younger Life Live Tech Cruise, doing it as we're
Absolutely.
doing a record.
Yes, I
and
think
it is a
that's-
record, so it has to start at exactly the same time.
Okay.
And it's like all over the world they do this. It's a really cool thing. And we have lots of
Love it.
volunteers that come in and help teach the lesson. And then we have a Y swim instructor that's on the deck that is helping the volunteer instructors. So I know we've got a crew from LaPorte Hospital that are going to be helping volunteer. But our goal is to have 100 people in each pool at this swim lesson, both in
Wow.
LaPorte and Michigan City. But then we will also unveil this mural. And I tell you, the energy that Deanna had yesterday when I met with her, she's really excited because this is another great part of this project. It's not just that we're going to get this amazing mural, but the kids are going to get an opportunity to kind of work on a commissioned project where they're given some parameters of, we need you to come up with a vision that goes around this essay and the name. So she said, what a great experience for the real world for these kids. So we're really excited. I can't wait to work with the
talent,
kids.
the level of talent with
Yes.
with the high school art students is amazing. Betsy was sharing with us some of the murals they've been painting inside the school, and I was just blown away. So to have that level of talent available to us for this project, I think,
Absolutely,
is just so great. Part of it, if the community wants to submit their hometown swim hero story and suggest a name for the pool, they can go to the Michigan City YMCA's or the LaPorte YMCA's website and fill out the form. The hometown swim hero stories are 100 words or less, and with that, you also need to suggest a pool name of 5 words or less.
Wow.
What is your website?
www.lpymca.org. And then if you go to the events tab, you'll see the information for the hometown swim hero naming contest.
So tell us your story. It goes through March 30th. We'll get the announcement out to the community as well today, but we'll start to collect those stories. And then the hometown swim hero and the pool naming is available for people ages 5th grade and older. But so we got to thinking when we were talking with Betsy, how can we involve our young children in this wonderful pool naming concept and safe swimming discussion? And we were also talking with Brandy Lewis from the Boys and Girls Club about some of the things happening with Boys and Girls Club and Safe Harbor, and how do we pull all of these folks in to help the younger children have a say in this. And so we decided that we would do the 1,000 Drops of Water campaign, and that's coming up in April. We'll
What's
launch
that
that.
about?
So that is children, 0 through 4th grade will be able to decorate a piece of artwork that we submit to them. It will probably be like some sort of drip or drop or something. And the idea here is that a wave in the lake contains probably millions of drops of water. But if you think about it as 1,000 drops of water in a wave, all coming together, working together, moving forward to touch the shore. That's really what this is about. All of us as a community coming together, working together, and moving forward towards safe swimming. So we want children to artistically decorate these drops. And again, judges will pick about 20 winners. And Cindy has said that we'll be able to place that artwork in the hallways, I think, leading up to the pool in the YMCA. So our youngest children in our community are going to learn about safe swimming when they decorate their artwork, whether it's at the schools or the Boys and Girls Club or summer camps or Safe Harbor or wherever it is that they're going to get a very short lesson on swimming, and then they're going to decorate so it's a conversation starter for these folks. And then, their artwork is going to live at the Y, which I think is amazing.
That is
Really exciting. And, I just want to throw out a couple of opportunities that we have coming up during spring break. We always do a Learn to Swim. It's just a 1-week kind of condensed swim lesson session to introduce people that are maybe curious about learning to swim or have some questions about how the process works at an extremely reduced rate. And then also this world's largest swim lesson is free and open to the community. It will limit it to the first, I think Pat said 80 participants in it, because towards that 100 also we count the instructors that are in the water, but anyone that wants to participate in that is able to do that. You do not have to be a
When
member
is
of the
that
Y.
going to be happening,
It will
Cindy?
be on June 24th, and we'll have more information. Again, just visit our website or our Facebook page. We always have a lot of information on our Facebook page, and as we promote this Name the Pool contest as well, we'll have more information with the world's largest swim lesson as well. But spring break, we'll be having it at Elston, and we will have it in LaPorte. Great opportunity to get your toe wet and try swim lessons. And then our goal is that people will hopefully then like it and move into regular swim lessons. But if you don't have the opportunity to do that, you can join us for the world's largest swim lesson, and you'll get to see a condensed version of a swim lesson.
You liking that?
I think that's really cool. Have we ever actually broken the record?
I think just about every year they've done it, they've broke the record.
Really?
And we started off with all of our camp kids. We have between 100 and 150 kids that come to camp every week, and they have helped us participate in this swim lesson. And they love it because they're like, when their moms or dads come and pick them up, they're like, we're going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records.
That's
today."
really
They get
cool.
it really
That's
gets them
great.
excited. So it's a fun thing. And Pat has spearheaded that for us the last several years, and she's going to be taking that over to, like I said, Michigan City as well this year.
And at that competition, we will unveil the winner of the hometown swim hero winner.
Yes.
So because that person's now we'll know who that person is beforehand because we will have picked the winning story so that the students have enough time to use that winning story as art inspiration. But we won't reveal the winner until that event. So we'll
Right.
probably unveil the winner there. We'll unveil the winners of the drop campaign as well. And, you know, I think LaPorte Hospital will probably be able to augment that event as well with any kind of, you know, maybe some free screenings and things like that. We can talk more about that. But it's just a wonderful opportunity also to go see the Michigan City YMCA
Beautiful.
as well.
Right.
Just what they've done with that place and the property and the colorful walls, and it has a wonderful feeling to it, a good community feel.
Well, you know, when I was here last week, I said we had topped 800 members. We are a breath away from 900 members.
Yeah.
as of
Wow.
today. So
That's
our
fantastic.
numbers
Awesome.
are continue to move up. So
Beautiful.
it's really been embraced by the community. And I think back to my initial conversations with Dr. Easton Watkins, she really wanted Elston to remain an integral part of the community. It has such a rich history with Michigan City and means a lot to a lot of people that have lived in the community. So I think what an amazing opportunity we were given as a YMCA to bring a pool and all the other things that come with a YMCA back to the community in such an amazing facility. And we really have done a lot of work in there. It looks great.
beautiful.
And it's busy, busy, busy. And when I was meeting with Deanna yesterday, I had to stop a couple times and, Dad and his daughter were in. They were looking for the gym to go play basketball after school. We have lots of kids that come there for a safe environment where they can come after school and play basketball. Starting on Monday, Boys and Girls Club have also moved into the Elston facility. They will start having programming there on Monday. They will be utilizing a portion of the Mirror Gym every day, Monday through Friday as well. So our impact on children and really trying to make it an accessible facility for all is what we're working really hard to do. And we've had some great relationships, and we're working on some great partnerships with community agencies. We did swim lessons for a lot of the different summer groups last year. We'll be doing the same thing again this year. So we really want to get people in the building. We want to get people in the water, get them started with swim lessons, and just get them in a safe environment with good role models to help the kids. Everyone needs that role model in their life that they look up to and that they aspire to be. And we hope that we're able to do that as well.
School system, as everybody knows in this room and those that are viewing or listening right now, has grown leaps and bounds under the direction of Dr. Barbara Eason Watkins, who's our superintendent of schools. It's got to make you feel good, Dr. Barbara, that these things are evolving and you've got some unbelievable team players and you really surround yourself with some unbelievable people.
Absolutely. We're really excited about many of the things that are happening in the school system, but I just want to just take a minute before talking about that to just thank the YMCA for ensuring that our vision came to fruition and is a reality for the community here in Michigan City. We have the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, Young People's Theater. What we want to do is to make Elston a community hub for those organizations that need a space so that they can really evolve if they're in a true service mode for the community. And Cindy and her team have done an amazing job of listening to the community and ensuring that the things as they were moving forward and making plans, the ideas from the community were taken into consideration. So I just want to pause for a moment and say thank you. But I'm always thrilled to talk about the Michigan City area schools and the wonderful things that are happening here in our school district. We were just thrilled, first of all, to announce this year that our graduation rate is at an all-time high, 89.8, and it is a real tribute to the hard work of our teachers and faculty, community, many of our community partners. We have an amazing STEM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, cycle. Continuum here in Michigan City, starting with Lake Hills, which is the only state certified STEM elementary school in Northwest Indiana.
Wow.
Continuing into Barker Middle School, continuing into our high school and at the Career Center as well. We were just thrilled a few weeks ago when Alcoa actually provided a grant to us for the high school so that we can add another computer manufacturing class, at the high high school. And so, we feel that NIPSCO a few years ago really put our career efforts on the map when the governor actually came out to launch the NIPSCO Energy Academy at our Career Center, only one in the state. And
Wow.
he came out and said that the partnership that we have established with NIPSCO is a model for the state. We have other, similar activities. Pine and Rick, you all have been very instrumental in helping to promote many of the activities at Pine. Pine is our school for the visual and performing arts. We have strong partnerships with PNC, Lebesnick Center, all trying to ensure that the children who might not have those opportunities otherwise have a robust after-school program, and the teachers are doing some amazing things, with them as well. As we think about some of the other things that are happening, and really, this is like the end of my first 5 years, and we're looking to the future. We did a listings tour before we made any plans for the Michigan City area schools. And parents said that they wanted quality options, and that led to our magnet school programs and our middle school themes and the programs that we have at the high school. At the high school, we have our honors college for students that are accelerated and they really want to take AP classes, honors classes from the very start. We also started a program a couple of years ago called Early College, because we knew that we had a lot of students who would be going on to college as first generation students. And a story from my first year, it was probably March. One of our National Honor Society students who was African American, I asked her where she was going to college, and I was just talking really with a group, and she said, I don't know. Because she said her parents hadn't filled out the financial aid form, and there were some other things that hadn't taken place. And so I said, we really have to get our arms around the children who would be first generation in our community. And so our early college started with 100 students, and we've added a class of 100 since then. They are thriving,
Wow.
earning dual credits. And let me just say something about dual credits. My first day on the job, the Dean of Education from Purdue North Central came to visit with me, and it was probably, if I started at 8, he was there at 8:30. And he said, why isn't Michigan City High School participating with dual credit opportunities? And that's when high school students are able to earn college credit while they are in high school. And I said, well, I don't know. I've been on the job 30 minutes, but I'll find out. Well, we were thrilled. About 2 years ago, Michigan City High School was actually the #1 school in the Duneland Conference in terms of dual credits earned. We have students
Nice.
graduating with up to, and a few of them exceeding 30 credit hours.
It's incredible.
It is
And I wish I
they're
would have
going
had that
to-
when I was in
They're
high school.
going
Yeah,
to
no kidding, me
college,
too.
not as
sophomore.
freshmen, but as sophomores. And,
That's
and, and so
incredible.
it's just amazing. And we're just really thrilled about that. We've been really pushing the whole partnership aspect. The Redevelopment Commission is partnering with us so that we can offer the technology training for our teachers, get devices in our students' hands, make sure that we're able to revise our curriculum, because we want our students to be competitive. And so we're just thrilled with the community outpouring of support for the Michigan City area schools. And I've always said, we're going to get the job done. Hold us accountable, but we're going to get it done if you support us.
On that
wonderful.
note, everybody, we've got
That's
about 40
fantastic.
seconds. Thank you, everybody. Big round of applause for everybody. We told you we'd go fast. Woo-woo!
Thank you for being a hometown swim
is
hero.
great.
We're so
Absolutely.
inspired.
And visit our website to submit your application for your essay. And there are 2 winners, 2 opportunities to win: naming of the pool and your essays. So it could be the same person, or it could be 2 individuals that
Throw out the
win.
website one more time.
lpymca.org.
Cindy Burcham, thank you so much. Stacy Kellogg, Dr. Barbara Eason Watkins, Mary Anthony. I'm Rick Federici, and thank you all for joining us for another great edition of Younger Life Live. Have a good one.
AM 1420, WIMS Michigan City, a Girard Media Company station.